Chapter 1. Unraveling Infidelity, Understanding the Whys and Hows. 1.1 Historical Evolution of Infidelity. Infidelity has been a complex and often contentious issue throughout human history. Its social perception and the reactions it engenders have evolved significantly over time, influenced by cultural norms, religious teachings, and legal frameworks. Ancient civilizations addressed infidelity in various ways, with some societies accepting it under certain conditions, while others imposed strict prohibitions. For example, in ancient Mesopotamian societies, marriage contracts sometimes explicitly allowed for concubines or secondary wives, indicating a form of culturally sanctioned non-monogamy. However, these same societies often regarded extramarital affairs by women as severe transgressions, resulting in harsh punishments. In ancient Greek and Roman societies, infidelity was viewed through a gender-biased lens, where men's extramarital affairs were commonly tolerated or even expected, particularly if they involved slaves or prostitutes. However, married women were expected to remain faithful, and the double standard was legally and socially enforced. Male infidelity was often seen as a matter of personal indulgence or social status, while female infidelity threatened the legitimacy of heirs, leading to serious repercussions for women and their lovers. These attitudes were rooted in the patriarchy and patrilineal inheritance systems that dominated these civilizations. During the Middle Ages in Europe, the Christian Church played a significant role in shaping attitudes toward marriage and fidelity. Adultery was considered a sin, and the sacramental nature of marriage emphasized the importance of sexual fidelity among spouses. Despite the Church's moral teachings, however, extramarital affairs occurred and were often tacitly accepted among certain classes, notably the nobility. Feudal lords and ladies sometimes engaged in romantic or sexual liaisons outside of marriage, a fact that was quietly acknowledged, even as the clergy preached against such behavior. As time progressed into the early modern period, views on infidelity began to shift with the advent of the Enlightenment and increasing emphasis on individual rights and freedoms. The intellectual movement brought about a questioning of traditional authorities, including those dictating marital norms. In some cases, romantic love began to be seen as a legitimate reason for pursuing relationships outside of marriage, challenging the previously held notion that marriage was purely an economic or social contract, devoid of personal emotion. By the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution and the rise of urban centers changed the social landscape. People began to live in closer proximity to one another in growing cities, which made extramarital affairs both easier to pursue and harder to conceal. This period also saw a growing idealization of romantic love as a central component of marriage, which had the paradoxical effect of both elevating expectations of marital fidelity and heightening the sense of betrayal when infidelity occurred. The institution of marriage continued to be challenged, but the emotional impact of infidelity started to receive more attention in literature and social discussions. In the 20th century, shifts in social norms and the increasing equality of the sexes began to influence how infidelity was perceived. The feminist movement challenged traditional gender roles and the power imbalances that had long justified double standards in sexual behavior. Infidelity began to be understood not just as a moral failing or a breach of social contract, but also as an issue of personal betrayal that affected both men and women. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed the sexual revolution, which brought about greater openness in discussing sex and relationships. The availability of contraception and the pursuit of sexual liberation altered the views of many regarding marriage and monogamy, leading some to experiment with alternative relationship structures like open marriages and polyamory. Meanwhile, the rise of therapy and counseling as professions led to a deeper understanding of the psychological aspects of infidelity, both for those who are unfaithful and for their partners. Entering the 21st century, we continue to see the evolution of societal attitudes toward infidelity. The proliferation of the internet and digital technology has introduced new dimensions to infidelity, with online affairs and sexting adding complexity to the traditional definitions of cheating. This digital landscape has made it easier for individuals to engage in secretive communications and form emotional connections outside of their primary relationships. Current discussions about infidelity often revolve around its causes and impacts. There is an increased awareness of the emotional and psychological consequences of infidelity. As societal norms continue to shift, there has been a growing focus on the importance of communication, consent, and boundaries within relationships. The traditional view of infidelity as a simple breach of trust is now supplemented with a broader consideration of the human needs for intimacy, self-expression, and fulfillment. Despite these evolutions in understanding, the consequences of infidelity remain a reality for many couples today. The sense of betrayal, broken trust, and emotional pain that infidelity can cause are significant issues that relationship experts, therapists, and couples themselves must navigate. While societal norms and laws around infidelity have changed over time, the fundamental challenge of building and maintaining trust in a relationship continues to be a paramount concern for couples across cultures. 1.2 Defining infidelity: emotional, physical, cyber. Infidelity is a complex and multifaceted issue that presents itself in various forms. To understand infidelity thoroughly, one must first address its definition, which extends beyond the traditional concept of a physical affair. Infidelity encompasses emotional, physical, and in modern context, cyber manifestations. Emotional infidelity involves forming a deep, intimate connection with someone other than one's partner without sexual involvement. People engaged in an emotional affair often share personal thoughts, feelings, and support with someone outside of their romantic relationship, to an extent that compromises the intimacy with their partner. It is characterized by secrecy, emotional investment, and increasing emotional distance from one's significant other. Emotional infidelity can be as damaging as physical infidelity, as it directly affects the trust and emotional bond between partners. Physical infidelity is the most commonly recognized form, involving sexual acts with someone who is not one's committed partner. It includes a wide range of behaviors, from one-time encounters to long-term affairs. Physical infidelity typically entails a breach of trust and a violation of a monogamous agreement, if one exists within the relationship. It may or may not be accompanied by emotional attachment, which sometimes makes it harder for some partners to reconcile as compared to emotional infidelity. This form of betrayal is often the most evident, and is what people traditionally associate with cheating. The effects of physical infidelity are profound, leading to a severe breakdown in communication and intimacy, and often resulting in the dissolution of the relationship. Cyber infidelity, a relatively new concept resulting from the advent of the internet and social media, involves engaging in romantic or sexual activities via digital means. This can include sending explicit messages, sharing intimate photographs or videos, or engaging in virtual encounters with someone other than one's partner. Cyber infidelity introduces unique challenges as it may not involve physical contact, making it harder for some to categorize it as cheating. However, the emotional impact and the breach of trust are comparable to its physical counterpart, which can be equally harmful to a relationship. The accessibility and anonymity provided by the internet facilitates cyber infidelity, making it a growing concern in modern romantic relationships. Each type of infidelity carries its own set of consequences and levels of betrayal. What further complicates matters is the subjective nature of what constitutes infidelity. Different cultures, personal beliefs, and relationship agreements can significantly alter the perception and definition of infidelity. For instance, in an open or polyamorous relationship, physical interactions with others may not constitute infidelity if they are within the agreed-upon boundaries. Conversely, in a committed monogamous relationship, even virtual flirtation can be seen as a severe transgression. Therefore, the definition of infidelity largely depends on the expectations and agreements established between the individuals involved in a relationship. Identifying the nature of the betrayal is fundamental in addressing the issue and navigating the path to resolution or reconciliation. Infidelity often arises from underlying relationship issues, personal dissatisfaction, or a combination of both. Understanding why individuals engage in infidelity is crucial to addressing its occurrence and preventing it in the future. Emotional infidelity may begin seemingly innocuously, with the inattentiveness of one partner leading the other to seek validation, attention, and companionship elsewhere. Similarly, physical infidelity can be driven by a desire for excitement, physical gratification, or even as an escape from relationship problems. Cyber infidelity may stem from curiosity, the thrill of anonymity, or the ease of access to online connections. It is important to determine the contributing factors to infidelity to mitigate its impact and rebuild trust, if that is the chosen path for the individuals involved. The process through which infidelity occurs often follows a pattern, starting with opportunity and temptation, followed by rationalization and the decision to act, and finally, the actual infidelity. Emotional, physical, and cyber infidelity all begin with an opportunity, whether it is spending time with a colleague, encountering a past lover, or connecting with someone in an online chatroom. Rationalization plays a big role, as individuals involved may convince themselves that their needs are not being met, or that their actions are harmless. The decision to act on temptation signifies a turning point, leading a person further down the path of infidelity. It is this process, shaped by various psychological and situational factors, which allows infidelity to manifest itself in a relationship. The impact of infidelity on a relationship is profound. The discovery of a partner's unfaithfulness is often traumatic, leading to feelings of betrayal, anger, hurt, and confusion. It can erode the foundation of trust that the relationship is built on, and cause significant emotional distress for both partners. In addition to the emotional impact, infidelity can lead to practical consequences, such as the breakdown of the family unit, financial instability, and social repercussions. The aftermath of infidelity requires careful and considerate navigation, especially when there is a desire to salvage the relationship. Counseling, open communication, and the rebuilding of trust are common routes that couples may explore following an affair. The varying degrees and forms of infidelity necessitate a personalized approach to dealing with its fallout. Couples are often faced with the decision of whether to work through the betrayal or dissolve the relationship. While some relationships become irreparable after infidelity, others may benefit from the difficult but possible process of reconciliation. The course of action taken largely depends on the individual's values, resilience, the nature of the infidelity, and the history of the relationship. The willingness to get professional help and to openly communicate with one another plays a significant role in the recovery process. Whether the relationship survives infidelity or not, it is imperative that both partners engage in a process of healing and self-reflection. In understanding the dynamics of infidelity, it is also important to recognize the impact of societal and technological changes on how infidelity is perceived and carried out. The rise of social media and dating apps has increased the accessibility of potential extramarital interests, blurring the lines between harmless interaction and infidelity. Society's shifting views on marriage and sexual behavior influence how infidelity is judged and dealt with within the context of a relationship. As such, the nature of infidelity continues to evolve, requiring continuous study and adaptation in its definition and treatment. The complexity of infidelity, encompassing emotional, physical, and cyber forms, demands a multifaceted approach in both understanding and addressing it. As the definition shifts with cultural and technological shifts, so does the approach to tackling the problem within a relationship. It is only by defining the scope of infidelity, recognizing its various forms, and striving to understand the underlying causes that individuals and couples can hope to overcome the challenges it poses. Regardless of the form it takes, infidelity breaches trust and requires an earnest effort to either rebuild the damaged relationship or decide on an appropriate course of action for all involved. 1.3 Psychological Roots of Cheating. Infidelity is a complex phenomenon that is deeply rooted in psychological factors. It transcends the mere act of betrayal and provides a window into the human psyche. Understanding these factors is essential for individuals and professionals who seek to address and mitigate the implications of cheating in relationships. Various psychological theories have been proposed to explain why individuals engage in infidelity, and this section explores these in depth. Many psychologists believe that the propensity for infidelity may be traced back to attachment styles formed during early childhood. Attachment theory suggests that the quality of care received from primary caregivers can have lasting impacts on how individuals form and maintain relationships later in life. Individuals with secure attachments often exhibit trust and balance within relationships, while those with anxious or avoidant attachments may experience difficulty in establishing emotional intimacy and stability, possibly predisposing them to seek fulfillment outside their primary relationship. Studies have shown that individuals with avoidant attachment styles tend to engage in infidelity more frequently as they struggle to commit emotionally and often keep their partners at a distance. Another psychological perspective involves the developmental stage theories, such as Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. According to Erikson, adults go through the stage of intimacy versus isolation, typically during their early adulthood. Success in this stage leads to healthy relationships, while failure might result in feelings of isolation and, consequently, the pursuit of extramarital affairs to fill an emotional void. Adultery, in this case, could be an expression of an unresolved crisis where the unfaithful partner has not successfully navigated this crucial stage of development. Cognitive dissonance theory also provides insight into the psychological mechanisms at play in infidelity. When a person's actions are not in alignment with their beliefs or self-image, it creates a state of cognitive dissonance. To alleviate the discomfort caused by this dissonance, individuals might alter their perceptions or justify their behavior. For instance, a person committing adultery may minimize the significance of their actions or devalue their relationship to feel less guilty. Through such rationalizations, the individual aligns their behavior with a new set of attitudes, effectively reducing the psychological discomfort associated with their infidelity. Personality traits are significant predictors of cheating behavior. The Big Five personality traits, which include openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, have been linked to a propensity for infidelity. High levels of extroversion and openness to experience, combined with low levels of conscientiousness and agreeableness, may be correlated with a higher likelihood of engaging in infidelity. This connection suggests that those who are more impulsive, less disciplined, and less empathetic might find themselves more inclined to cheat. Furthermore, the role of self-esteem in infidelity is a well-documented phenomenon. Individuals with low self-esteem might engage in extramarital affairs as a way to seek validation and boost their sense of self-worth. Conversely, individuals with overly inflated self-esteem may feel entitled to engage in infidelity, perceiving it as a deserved privilege. These contrasting scenarios highlight the varying ways in which self-esteem can influence the likelihood of cheating, with both low and high extremes potentially leading to infidelity. The concept of the dark triad personality traits, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy, has also been linked to infidelity. Individuals with these traits may view relationships transactionally and prioritize their desires and needs over their partners. In particular, narcissism is associated with a sense of grandiosity and an excessive need for admiration, which can lead to unfaithful behavior as a means of attaining affirmation from multiple sources. These traits foster a mindset that disregards the impact of one's actions on others, including the betrayal of a partner's trust. Sociosexual orientation, another important psychological factor, refers to the individual differences in the predisposition to engage in sexual activity without the presence of a committed relationship. People with an unrestricted sociosexual orientation are more comfortable with casual sex and are more likely to cheat than individuals with a restrictive sociosexual orientation who prefer sex to occur in committed relationships. This orientation is influenced by both genetic predispositions and cultural norms, which together shape attitudes and behaviors concerning monogamy and infidelity. Psychodynamic theories emanating from the work of Sigmund Freud argue that unconscious forces drive behavior. These unconscious motivations and unresolved conflicts can manifest themselves in the act of cheating. An individual may unconsciously seek to sabotage their own happiness or to reenact trauma from past experiences within their current relationships. Understanding these underlying conflicts through therapeutic intervention may provide significant insights into the root causes of infidelity within a relationship. Stress and life satisfaction are often overlooked psychological factors that can contribute to the likelihood of cheating. High levels of stress or dissatisfaction in various aspects of life, such as work or personal achievement, can create a strain on the primary relationship. When individuals face such challenges, they may turn to infidelity as an escape or as a way to cope with their frustrations. The temporary solace found in an affair may provide a distraction from the dissatisfaction or distress being experienced in other areas of life. In essence, infidelity cannot be attributed to a single psychological cause, but is rather the result of a confluence of factors that are unique to each individual. It is crucial for both partners in a relationship to engage in open communication and to seek professional help if necessary, to address these underpinnings, which may contribute to the incidence of infidelity. Understanding the psychological roots of cheating involves a multifaceted exploration of individual histories, personality traits, and the social context within which the relationship exists. Only by acknowledging and addressing these varied aspects can individuals, couples, and professionals gain a comprehensive understanding of the complexities involved in infidelity and work towards healthy and faithful relationships. 1.4 Societal and cultural influencers and personal triggers. Infidelity is a complex and multifaceted issue that is influenced by a range of societal and cultural factors, as well as personal triggers. Society's views on relationships and fidelity have evolved over time, and cultural norms play a significant role in how infidelity is perceived and handled. Different cultures have different expectations regarding monogamy and extramarital affairs, which in turn can influence how individuals within those societies perceive infidelity. Some cultures may be more forgiving or accepting of affairs, considering them a part of life or a privacy matter, while others may have strict sanctions against such behavior, often tied to religious or societal moral codes. Another societal factor is the representation of infidelity in media, which can portray affairs as either romantic and exciting or devastating and unethical, influencing public perception. Personal triggers for infidelity can be as varied as the individuals involved. Emotional dissatisfaction within a relationship is a common trigger. When individuals feel neglected, underappreciated, or disconnected from their partners, they might be more susceptible to seeking attention outside the relationship. This happens irrespective of societal norms, as the personal feeling of longing or loneliness can become overpowering. Similarly, individuals with unmet sexual desires or incompatibilities with their partners might seek to fulfill their needs extramarially. The reasons are not always rooted in relationship deficits. Some individuals might feel personally validated through outside encounters, experiencing a boost in self-esteem or excitement that they find lacking in their daily lives. Societal and cultural influencers also intersect with gender roles and expectations. In many societies, masculinity may be tied to sexual conquest or prowess, pressuring some men to seek multiple partners. Conversely, women might face heavy societal stigmatization for the same behavior. However, this is changing as gender roles evolve, and infidelity is increasingly understood to happen among all genders. Also, economic independence and changing discourse around women's rights can empower individuals to make choices that were not available or condoned in the past, potentially leading to higher reported rates of infidelity among women. The integration of technology into daily life has also shifted the landscape of infidelity. The anonymity and accessibility of online interactions through social media, dating apps, and chat rooms have created new opportunities for emotional and physical affairs. Technology has also redefined boundaries. What constitutes infidelity is no longer just a physical act, but can also be emotional or virtual. Cyber infidelity can occur without any physical contact, yet it may still elicit feelings of betrayal just as strong as those stemming from a physical affair. This ambiguity complicates both the understanding of infidelity and the reactions to it, as partners might have differing perceptions of what constitutes a breach of trust online. Workplace dynamics are another societal influence on infidelity. As individuals spend a significant portion of their day at work, close relationships with coworkers can develop. These relationships can cross into romantic or sexual territory, particularly in environments that foster intimacy, such as high-stress jobs or those that involve teamwork and close collaboration. Work travel and corporate cultures that involve networking and socializing can create settings conducive to infidelity. Economic factors such as job insecurity and financial strain can also influence infidelity, with individuals possibly seeking comfort or escape from stress outside their relationships. Social networks and friendships play a key role in framing attitudes towards infidelity. An individual's social circle can impact their actions and views on extramarital affairs. If infidelity is common or normalized within a peer group, a person may be more likely to engage in similar behavior, rationalizing that it is acceptable or expected. Conversely, being part of a group that strongly values fidelity can dissuade an individual from straying. Moreover, interactions with friends and acquaintances can develop into more intimate relationships, sometimes crossing the line into emotional or sexual affairs. Life transitions and significant events can serve as personal triggers for infidelity. Milestones such as the birth of a child, a job loss, or entering middle age can prompt personal reflection and reassessment of one's life and happiness. During such times, individuals may question their current relationships or decisions and potentially seek a significant change, which can lead to an affair. Infidelity during these periods often represents a deeper personal struggle or crisis, rather than a simple desire to be unfaithful. The personal history and individual psychological makeup of an individual can influence their propensity to commit infidelity. Childhood experiences, attachment styles, and historical relationship patterns play a role in how one deals with intimacy and commitment. For example, individuals with insecure attachment styles might find it challenging to maintain monogamy, or might require constant reassurance from multiple sources, which could lead to infidelity. Psychological disorders, mental health issues, or past trauma can also contribute to the likelihood of someone engaging in an affair, often as a coping mechanism or as a result of impaired judgment. Lastly, societal shifts in the acceptance and definition of non-monogamous relationships have broadened how infidelity is understood. Polyamory, open relationships, and other forms of consensual non-monogamy challenge traditional views on extramarital affairs. While such arrangements are not considered infidelity within the contexts in which they are consensually practiced, they do raise questions about the nature of commitment and exclusivity in modern society. As acceptance of various relationship structures grows, the definition of infidelity may continue to evolve, with personal agreements and boundaries taking precedence over universal norms. Understanding the myriad societal, cultural, and personal factors that can influence infidelity is crucial for a comprehensive examination of why infidelity occurs. Individual circumstances are complex and unique, and while societal and cultural norms can play a substantial role, so too can personal triggers and psychological factors. Each case of infidelity is distinct, with its own set of causes and contexts, and understanding this can help in addressing the root causes and potentially preventing infidelity in relationships. 1.5 Risk Factors and Vulnerabilities. Infidelity is a complex behavior influenced by multiple factors which can range from personal vulnerabilities to environmental circumstances. It's important to recognize that not all relationships or individuals are equally susceptible to infidelity. Personal vulnerabilities refer to specific characteristics or experiences within an individual that can make them more inclined to engage in extramarital affairs. These can include issues with attachment, personality traits, and personal history. The role of attachment styles, developed early in life based on one's relationship with caregivers, is significant. Individuals with a secure attachment style tend to have more stable and trusting relationships, while those with anxious or avoidant attachment styles might be more prone to seek reassurance or distance through affairs. Personality traits also play a key role in predisposing people to infidelity. Some research suggests that individuals who are less conscientious and less agreeable might be more likely to have affairs. Traits such as narcissism, where individuals have an inflated sense of self-importance and a need for admiration, along with a lack of empathy, can be predictors of infidelity. Narcissists may seek out extramarital sex to bolster their ego or fulfill their need for validation. Additionally, those with impulsive tendencies and a propensity for risk-taking are more likely to cheat due to their lower inhibition levels and desire for new experiences. A person's history and past behaviors can serve as indicators for future actions. Those who have a background of infidelity in their family, either through parental infidelity or their own past indiscretions, may be more inclined to view extramarital affairs as permissible or inevitable. Past personal experiences of infidelity can set a precedent for future behavior, perpetuating a cycle of unfaithfulness. Similarly, individuals who have a history of diverse sexual partners and those who began their sexual activities at a younger age may be more prone to engage in extramarital relationships. The quality and state of the primary relationship that individuals are part of can be a determinant of infidelity. A dissatisfying marriage or partnership often serves as a pretext for seeking physical or emotional satisfaction outside the relationship. Factors like lack of intimacy, communication issues, emotional or physical neglect, and unresolved conflicts within a relationship create a fertile ground for affairs. People may feel pushed away from their partners and drawn toward others who seem to offer what is missing in their primary relationship. It is equally important to examine sexual satisfaction within the primary relationship as a factor associated with infidelity. Individuals who are not sexually content with their partners may seek to fulfill their needs elsewhere. This dissatisfaction can be rooted in mismatched sexual desires, infrequency of sexual encounters, or sexual incompatibility. It is also significant to note that even individuals who report being satisfied with their sex lives may still engage in infidelity for reasons unrelated to sexual fulfillment. Availability of opportunity and social context are predictors of infidelity. Those who have more chances to engage with potential sexual or romantic partners, for instance, through work, travel, or social activities, have a higher risk of infidelity. The influence of peer behavior should not be underestimated. If infidelity is common within a social circle, an individual may be more likely to conform to this norm. Alongside this, cultural factors and societal attitudes toward infidelity can either heighten or mitigate the perceived acceptability of having an affair. Technology and the Internet have introduced new dimensions to infidelity. The rise of social media, dating apps, and online communities has made initiating and hiding extramarital relationships easier and more accessible than ever before. Virtual encounters can also escalate quickly into emotional or physical affairs. Moreover, the anonymity and vast choice afforded by the Internet can lead to increased temptation and opportunities to engage in behaviors individuals might not consider in an offline scenario. Stress and critical life events can act as catalysts for infidelity. During periods of intense stress, such as financial pressure, career challenges, or family issues, individuals might seek an escape in the form of an affair. This escape can provide a temporary sense of relief or distraction from the difficulties they are facing. Life transitions, such as the birth of a child, can significantly alter the dynamics of a relationship and, if not managed well, can lead to a sense of disconnection that might be navigated through infidelity. The role of addictive behaviors and substance abuse cannot be overlooked as risk factors for infidelity. Those who have problematic relationships with substances like alcohol or drugs may be more likely to engage in infidelity due to impaired judgment and lowered impulse control. Addiction can also create relational rifts that leave spaces for an individual to seek comfort or excitement outside their primary relationship. Understanding that no single factor is solely responsible for infidelity is crucial. It is the interplay of multiple vulnerabilities and situational factors that can lead an individual to stray from their partnership. It is also important to note that while these risk factors can make a person more prone to infidelity, they do not justify or excuse the behavior. Exploring these factors can, however, provide valuable insights into the prevention and therapy of infidelity in relationships. By addressing and working through these vulnerabilities and stresses, couples can strive to reinforce their bond and reduce the chances of infidelity occurring. 1.6 Patterns of Disclosure and Impact. Infidelity is a complex issue that affects both individuals and relationships in various ways. Disclosure, the act of revealing the infidelity to a partner, is a critical moment that can significantly impact the trajectory of the relationship. The patterns of disclosure refer to how, when, and why an act of infidelity comes to light. These patterns can range from spontaneous admissions to discovered messages, or from meticulously planned conversations to slip UPS that inadvertently reveal the truth. Understanding these patterns is important because they influence consequences for both the person committing infidelity and the partner. Furthermore, the method of disclosure can set the tone for subsequent dialogues and either facilitate or hinder the healing process. The timing of disclosure is a factor that can greatly affect the emotional impact on the partner receiving the information. Early disclosure, perhaps immediately after an infidelity occurs, may lead to a different psychological outcome compared to disclosure that happens years after the event. Partners who learn about an infidelity shortly after it occurs may experience a state of shock but might also appreciate the honesty, potentially viewing the immediate confession as a sign of remorse and a willing commitment to transparency. Conversely, delayed disclosure can lead to feelings of prolonged betrayal, undermining trust not just in the fidelity of the partner but in the truth of the past itself. Years of what one deemed to be genuine moments and memories can suddenly feel tainted, and the realization that one has been deceived for a prolonged period can be particularly damaging. The method of disclosure is another variable with significant bearings on the aftermath. A deliberate and voluntary confession is distinct from a revelation forced by circumstances or confrontation. Individuals who take the proactive approach to confess may be able to better frame the context of their infidelity and express remorse, which can be critical in initiating the healing process. In contrast, discovery by accident or through investigation tends to invalidate any accompanying expressions of regret, as the partner often perceives the revealed infidelity as a continuation of deception rather than a lapse in judgment. The level of detail shared during disclosure is another contributing factor to its impact. Some people choose to divulge every aspect of their indiscretions, while others provide minimal details, either out of a belief that too much information would be harmful or because they wish to protect themselves from the full extent of their partner's reaction. This choice has implications for recovery, as too little information might leave the betrayed partner feeling suspicious and uncertain, while an overload of details can be overwhelming and cause further trauma. Navigating the appropriate amount of information is delicate and can prove crucial in how each partner perceives the path forward. The rationale given for the infidelity during disclosure can also have profound effects. Explanations that involve externalizing blame, such as attributing the act to alcohol or a lapse in judgment under stress, are received differently than those that internalize blame acknowledging personal fault and shortcomings. Partners may find it easier to forgive when the reasons given do not devalue them or the relationship. For example, an individual citing stress as a factor without implicating the relationship's quality might maintain the impacted partner's self-esteem. However, when infidelity is rationalized as the result of the betrayed partner's alleged deficiencies, the emotional damage can be considerably amplified. The emotional state of both parties at the time of disclosure greatly affects how the information is processed. The infidelity itself is already an emotional crisis, but the prevailing moods and circumstances surrounding the confession can either exacerbate or mitigate its intensity. A partner confessing during a period of relational stability and mutual contentment may confront a more volatile reaction than if the admission occurs when the relationship is already perceived as vulnerable. The latter may make the impact slightly less shocking, but can also confirm suspicions or negative perceptions already held by the wounded partner. Frequency of infidelity and previous experiences with betrayal also frame the impact of disclosure. For individuals who have endured infidelity in the past, either in the current relationship or in previous ones, responses to disclosures can be complicated by historical traumas. The presence of recurring infidelity reveals patterns that can make repair efforts seem futile and erode the foundation of trust further. If such patterns are existent, they need to be addressed in any efforts toward healing, as they bring added layers of distrust and emotional baggage to the situation. Once infidelity is disclosed and the initial reactions have begun to settle, the emotional and psychological impacts manifest in various ways for both parties. The partner who committed infidelity might experience guilt and anxiety, fearing the potential loss of the relationship and dealing with the shame of their actions. Concurrently, the betrayed partner may undergo an array of emotions, including sadness, anger, confusion, and a sense of mourning for the perceived loss of the previous state of their relationship. These emotions can be intense and often require a great deal of time and effort to navigate, suggesting that disclosure is only the beginning of a longer process. The relationship's dynamic post-disclosure undergoes notable changes as well. Trust, once broken, is difficult to restore. Communication patterns may shift with an increase in monitoring and questioning behaviors from the betrayed partner. Social dynamics might also be affected, as infidelity often carries a stigma, and the fear of judgment may cause one or both partners to withdraw from their social network or to reshape their shared friendships. Furthermore, how each partner deals with these changes significantly determines the likelihood of reconciliation or dissolution of the relationship. In the context of recovery and healing, constructive patterns of disclosure are those that are accompanied by genuine remorse, a commitment to transparency going forward, and a willingness to engage in therapeutic processes, be they formal or informal. Recovery is multifaceted and requires diligent effort on parts of both partners. It may involve open communication, counseling, or therapy, and restructuring the relationship's terms. Notably, some relationships may not survive the impact of the infidelity, and for others, dissolution may be the healthiest outcome, allowing both partners to heal and move forward separately. Finally, the patterns of disclosure and their impact are unique to each relationship, influenced by the characters involved, their history, and the circumstances surrounding the infidelity and the disclosure. It's imperative that the process of dealing with infidelity be tailored to the specific needs and capabilities of the individuals and their relationship. While generalizations can be drawn, the intimacy of relationships means each case requires a personalized approach to navigate the complexities that follow the disclosure of infidelity. Whether the ultimate outcome is reconciliation or parting ways, the way disclosure is handled can profoundly influence both individuals' mental and emotional well-being and the overall trajectory of their lives. 1.7 The role of secrecy and lies in infidelity. Secrecy and lies form the infrastructure upon which infidelity is built and maintained. The act of engaging in an affair inherently requires a degree of secrecy to avoid detection. This need for secrecy can result in the individual weaving a complex web of lies and deception, which can range from outright falsehoods to the omission of critical information. The psychology behind lying and keeping secrets is multifaceted as it plays into the human desire for privacy, autonomy, and the avoidance of unpleasant outcomes, such as conflict or the loss of a relationship. The perpetuation of secrecy and lies has psychological effects on both the individual engaging in infidelity and the partner who is being deceived. The cognitive load associated with maintaining secrecy and lies is significant. Individuals must remember the details of their lies, whom they told what, and how they've covered their tracks. This can create a psychological burden as they continuously monitor themselves to avoid slip-ups. The stress and anxiety of maintaining this duplicity can take a toll on the individual's mental health, potentially manifesting in symptoms such as sleep disturbances, irritability, or even depression. This cognitive load is often underestimated by those engaging in infidelity, as they might believe they are capable of handling the deceit without any unforeseen consequences. Secrecy and lies can impact trust in a relationship. Once discovered, the betrayal felt by the partner can severely damage the bond between them. Trust is a foundational element of any relationship, and repairing it after such a breach can be challenging and time-consuming. This damage to trust isn't isolated to the romantic relationship, as the deceit can affect friendships and family relationships if these parties are involved or later learn of the infidelity. The broader social impact of infidelity, enabled by secrecy and lies, can ripple out, eroding the individual's support network. Psychologically, individuals who engage in infidelity may do so for a sense of empowerment or autonomy. Keeping secrets and lying can induce a feeling of control over one's life and decisions. This need for control can be an impetus for some to stray from their committed relationships. However, this perceived control is often an illusion, as the complex web of deceit makes individuals prone to unexpected exposure and the chaotic aftermath that it brings. This false sense of power can therefore, ironically, place individuals in a more vulnerable position. The decision to maintain secrecy and engage in lies is often rationalized by individuals committing infidelity. Justifications like protecting their partner's feelings or the belief that the affair is harmless if undiscovered are common. These rationalizations serve to alleviate guilt and cognitive dissonance, the psychological discomfort experienced when one's actions are not aligned with their beliefs or values. Rationalizing the deceit allows individuals to continue their behavior without fully confronting the moral and emotional implications of their actions. The act of lying itself varies across cases of infidelity. Lies can be passive, such as withholding information, or being vague, or active, such as fabricating stories or creating alibis. Active lying requires more cognitive resources and creativity, thus increasing the risk of being caught. The choice between passive and active lying can be influenced by aspects such as fear of repercussions, the complexity of the affair, or the perceived ability to deceive. Despite the consequences, some individuals may find themselves escalating their lies. What starts as a small omission can snowball into a larger, more complex deception. The individual's history with honesty and their overall moral compass can significantly affect how they cope with the secrecy and lies inherent in infidelity. Individuals with a strong aversion to dishonesty may experience greater inner turmoil and regret concerning their actions. In contrast, those who have a more flexible approach to truth may not feel as much psychological stress from their deceit. However, regardless of one's propensity for honesty, engaging in ongoing deception can lead to internal conflict, questioning of self-worth, and erosion of one's self-concept over time. The lure of forbidden fruit also plays a role in the psychology behind secrecy and lies. The sense of doing something prohibited can be exciting for some, and this excitement, in part, fuels the secrecy. The enhanced emotional and physical arousal associated with an affair can make it difficult for individuals to disengage from the behavior, even as the risks and consequences accumulate. Consequently, the initial thrill may eventually give way to the weight of sustained deception and the fear of discovery. The digital age has added a layer of complexity to the role of secrecy and lies in infidelity. Communication technology enables discreet interactions and provides platforms for easy access to potential affair partners. However, it also leaves a digital trail that can lead to discovery. Those engaging in infidelity must therefore navigate not only the psychological aspects of lying and secrecy, but also the technical aspects of maintaining digital privacy. This requires additional vigilance and can contribute to the overall stress and paranoia of being involved in an affair. One must also consider the impact of being found out. Oftentimes, the discovery of an affair can be accidental, resulting from a slip in the maintenance of secrecy, such as a forgotten text message or a misdirected email. Some individuals, feeling the weight of their lies and the degradation of their psychological well-being, might subconsciously self-sabotage, leaving clues for their partners to find. These acts can be a cry for help or a subconscious desire to bring the affair and its accompanying duplicity to a close. Finally, the cessation of the affair doesn't necessarily mean the end of secrecy and lies. Individuals caught in infidelity often face a decision: to fully disclose the extent of their actions or to continue concealing information to manage the fallout. Some may opt for total honesty in an effort to rebuild trust, while others might persist in their deceit to protect themselves or their partner from further pain. This decision has far-reaching implications for the healing process and the potential recovery of the relationship. Moving forward requires careful negotiation of the truth and the consequences of the secrets kept during infidelity. 1.8 Confrontation and Discovery. The moment of confrontation and discovery, in cases of infidelity, is a significant turning point. This stage in the process of dealing with infidelity can be charged with a vast array of emotions, from disbelief and shock to anger and disappointment. When one discovers their partner's unfaithfulness, it often triggers a deep sense of betrayal that shakes the foundation of trust that the relationship was built upon. The manner in which the unfaithful partner is confronted can significantly influence the trajectory of the relationship moving forward. Careful consideration must therefore be given to the timing, setting, and method of confrontation to ensure that communication remains as constructive as possible, despite the overwhelming emotional context. The discovery of infidelity may occur accidentally or as the result of a deliberate investigation by the suspicious partner. Unintentional discovery can happen through a forgotten message left on a device, an overheard conversation, or through a sudden change in the partner's behavior that prompts questions. On the other hand, in situations where there is an undercurrent of suspicion, one may actively seek out confirmation of their fears through checking emails, messages, or even utilizing the services of a professional. Regardless of the means of discovery, the immediate impact of uncovering an affair is often shock and a pressing need for an explanation, which drives the impulse to confront the unfaithful partner. The process of confrontation should be approached with a clear mindset, which can be incredibly difficult given the emotional turmoil involved. Before any confrontation, it is beneficial to take time to process the initial emotions and gather thoughts. Writing down feelings and the questions one has can serve as a useful guide to steering the conversation. Rushing into a confrontation without this preparation can lead to an exchange that is chaotic and unproductive, merely amplifying the hurt without providing any pathway to understanding or resolution. During the actual confrontation, it is imperative to strive for a controlled environment where both partners feel safe to express their feelings and thoughts. Public places or situations with an audience, like in front of children or friends, should be avoided to protect the privacy and dignity of all involved. The approach should be one of seeking understanding, as opposed to simply venting anger or doling out accusations. The manner in which one partner communicates can often dictate the other's willingness to open up and provide honest answers. Engaging in a conversation about infidelity requires that both partners be prepared to listen. The partner who discovers the affair should express the pain and betrayal felt without resorting to personal attacks, as these can cause the other partner to shut down and become defensive. Conversely, the partner who has committed infidelity must be willing to listen to the hurt their actions have caused without attempting to justify or minimize the severity of the betrayal. It is through this bidirectional communication that the core issues leading to the infidelity can begin to surface. Identifying the reasons behind an affair is a complex and nuanced process that cannot be reduced to simple explanations. Often, infidelity indicates underlying problems within the relationship or personal challenges faced by the unfaithful partner. Understanding the context of the affair is crucial for any hope of recovery and healing. This understanding, however, does not excuse the betrayal. It is merely a step towards grasping the why behind the actions taken. As the confrontation progresses, it is common to encounter a range of defensiveness, guilt, and even remorse from the unfaithful partner. It is important to distinguish between remorse that is driven by getting caught and sincere regret for the pain caused. Genuine remorse is key for any chance of repairing the relationship, since it often predicates a willingness to work through the issues and rebuild trust. The partner on the receiving end of the infidelity must make an active choice, though not immediately, about whether to work on the relationship or to walk away. If the decision is made to attempt reconciliation, confrontation and discovery must be followed by a commitment to transparency and honesty. Lingering secrets or lies can undermine any efforts to rebuild trust and repair the damaged relationship. Both partners need to acknowledge the difficult journey ahead, which may involve seeking professional counseling to navigate the tumultuous emotions and complex dynamics following the affair. Additionally, the social stigma associated with infidelity cannot be ignored. Many who find themselves in the aftermath of an affair may face judgment from peers or family if the infidelity becomes public knowledge. This can further complicate the emotional response to confrontation and discovery, as feelings of embarrassment or the fear of losing social support can add to the challenges already present. Those going through this experience are urged to seek support systems that provide empathy and understanding rather than judgment. In the wake of confrontation and discovery, it is also important to address self-care for both partners. The emotional stress can be overwhelming, and it is essential to find healthy ways to cope. This might include engaging in activities that provide a respite from the emotional turmoil, seeking the support of trusted friends, or engaging in individual therapy. Maintaining physical health, which can easily be neglected during such times, is also crucial, as the mind-body connection plays a significant role in one's overall ability to handle stress and recover from trauma. Following confrontation and discovery, the path forward is deeply personal and will vary greatly from couple to couple. The outcome depends on many factors, including the depth of the deception, the history and strength of the relationship, and the individual capacities for forgiveness and change. Subsequent steps could involve a time separate for reflection and personal growth, or an immediate dive into intensive couples therapy. What remains consistent is the need for a thoughtful approach to the aftermath of an affair, respecting the profound impact it has on the lives of all involved and the transformative potential of this challenging chapter in a relationship. 1.9 Ethical and Moral Considerations. Ethics and morality play a significant role in understanding and evaluating the act of infidelity. Morality refers to principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior, while ethics is a branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. Infidelity, by most societal standards, is marked as a betrayal and a breach of trust between partners in a committed relationship. Examining the act from an ethical perspective involves considering the responsibilities each partner has to the other and to their union. The importance of faithfulness and honest communication are often rooted in the moral fabric of a relationship, serving to provide a sense of security and stability. When infidelity occurs, it disrupts these fundamental expectations and often leads to emotional harm. The ethical examination of infidelity is further complicated by the variety of perspectives and values held by different individuals and cultures. What is considered a betrayal in one relationship may not be seen as such in another, largely due to the expectations that were set by the partners involved. In some cultures, for instance, having multiple partners is normal and accepted. In contrast, others view monogamy as the only acceptable form of partnership. Ethics asks us to think about how human actions affect others, and infidelity's impact is often a direct reflection of the shared values and agreed-upon rules within the relationship. Therefore, understanding these unique relationship agreements is critical when assessing the ethical implications of infidelity. The ethical implications extend beyond the relationship itself and can affect family and friends. When infidelity occurs, it can lead to the breakdown of the familial structure, causing harm to any children involved as well as extended family members who may experience a sense of betrayal or loss. The ripple effect can impact friendships, as individuals may feel compelled to take sides or may lose trust in the instigator of the infidelity. Ethical considerations must account for the broader social impact and the responsibilities an individual has to not only their partner, but also those around them. Furthermore, infidelity raises issues concerning the ethical use of truth and deception. A person engaging in infidelity typically employs deception to conceal their actions, leading to a breakdown in honesty, which is a cornerstone of trust in any relationship. Truth has significant value in the ethics of human interaction, and the act of withholding truth or actively deceiving a partner compromises the integrity of the person committing the act. The moral quandary then becomes not just about the act itself, but also about the choice to lie and deceive. Moral and ethical considerations also involve assessing the reasons behind infidelity. Some theorists argue that under certain circumstances, the act may be understood, if not condoned. For example, if a partner is in an abusive or deeply unhappy relationship, some may argue that seeking comfort elsewhere might be comprehensible, although from a strictly ethical standpoint, it would still be seen as a breach of trust. There are also discussions about whether emotional infidelity, where there is no physical act but an intimate connection with someone outside the relationship is developed, is as significant a betrayal as physical infidelity. The debates are complex and nuanced, with morality and ethics demanding an analysis that goes beyond surface-level judgment. Moreover, the ethical discussion around infidelity often confronts the topic of forgiveness and reconciliation. From an ethical standpoint, the question arises as to what extent one should be held accountable for their actions and what compensatory measures should be expected. Forgiveness can be viewed as an ethical response that allows for the possibility of healing and growth following an act of betrayal. However, forgiveness is not mandatory, and whether or not it should occur is a deeply personal decision that varies from one individual to another. Ethics in this regard would consider the respect for an individual's autonomy in deciding how they wish to proceed after being wronged. The responsibility of the partner who has been unfaithful is also of ethical significance. Morally, admitting to wrongdoing and seeking to ameliorate the consequences of one's actions is considered virtuous. In cases of infidelity, ethical considerations would suggest that the unfaithful partner has a responsibility to disclose the truth, to understand the impact of their actions, to show genuine remorse, and to take steps towards making amends. How this is done, and whether it is possible to completely restore trust, is subject to the unique dynamics of each relationship and individual values. In modern times, the internet and social media have added new dimensions to the ethical considerations around infidelity. Digital infidelity can occur through online conversations, emotional connections formed over social networks, or even through the consumption of pornography. Ethics in this context scrutinizes the boundaries of privacy versus secrecy, as the online world can create new forms of betrayal that may not fall into traditional interpretations of infidelity, yet still generate feelings of hurt and betrayal. Exploring these new avenues requires a reassessment of what constitutes faithfulness and honesty within a relationship. The ethical and moral considerations of infidelity manifest in various forms of societal discourse. Legal systems sometimes address issues of infidelity, particularly within the context of divorce proceedings. While most modern legal systems do not criminalize adultery, The morality of faithfulness often influences legal decisions regarding the division of assets or custody of children. This intersection of ethics, morality, and law demonstrates the complexity of infidelity's impact on social structures and how society attempts to navigate and regulate personal relationships. Ultimately, investigating the ethical and moral considerations of infidelity requires a thoughtful and comprehensive approach that acknowledges the deep emotional repercussions and the questioning of foundational ethical principles such as honesty, responsibility, and respect. The challenge lies in balancing these ethical considerations with understanding and empathy for the human condition, which often involves complex motivations and flawed behaviors. By embracing the complexity of these issues, individuals and societies can foster a deeper understanding of the nature of relationships and the potential paths toward healing and resolution following an act of infidelity. 1.10 The role of individual personality traits. Individual personality traits can be a profound factor in the occurrence of infidelity. Personal characteristics, such as one's level of extroversion, openness to experience, or propensity for thrill-seeking, may predispose an individual to seek relationships outside of their primary partnership. Investigating these traits offers insight into the patterns and possibilities of a person being unfaithful. While personality alone does not dictate behavior, it influences how individuals view their relationship boundaries and how they handle temptation. One significant personality trait that has been linked with infidelity is the level of narcissism. People with narcissistic tendencies may require constant admiration and emotional stimulation, which they may not feel within their current relationship. This search for gratification can sometimes lead to infidelity, as narcissists might not consider the impact of their actions on others, focusing instead on fulfilling their needs and desires. High narcissism also tends to be associated with a sense of entitlement and a lowered ability to empathize with a partner's feelings, which can weaken the commitment to remain faithful. Another critical trait is conscientiousness, or more specifically, its absence. Individuals who score lower on scales of conscientiousness may be more prone to engage in infidelity. They might lack the discipline or impulse control necessary to resist temptations or veer from established norms and expectations within the relationship. Consequently, their lower commitment to orderliness and reliability may manifest in actions that put the relationship at risk, such as emotional or physical affairs. In contrast, a high degree of agreeableness may serve as a protective factor against infidelity. Agreeable individuals tend to be cooperative, compassionate, and value harmony in their relationships. They may be more likely to address issues within the partnership directly, rather than seeking external solutions. Their tendency to put a partner's needs on par with their own can contribute to more stable and faithful relationships. Nevertheless, it should be noted that excessive agreeableness could also lead to dissatisfaction if it results in neglecting one's own needs or failing to assert boundaries. The trait of openness to experience is also relevant in discussions of infidelity. People who score highly in this area might find it difficult to be satisfied with the routine or predictability that can come with long-term relationships. They could seek out novel experiences and feel restrained by monogamy. On the flip side, those who are less open to new experiences might value the security and familiarity of a committed relationship more highly, and therefore may be less likely to cheat. Risk-taking and sensation-seeking behavior are further traits that can play into the likelihood of infidelity. Individuals who have a propensity for seeking thrills and taking risks might be more inclined to engage in affairs as a means of pursuing excitement. They often crave new and intense experiences, which they may feel are lacking in their primary relationship. This inclination towards risk can lead them to dismiss the potential consequences of their actions for the thrill of the moment. Attachment styles, developed early in life, are also significant predictors of relationship behaviors in adulthood. For instance, those with an avoidant attachment style may have difficulty with intimacy and trust, leading them to seek physical or emotional connection elsewhere. On the other hand, individuals with a secure attachment style typically have healthier, more committed relationships and are less likely to engage in infidelity. Issues surrounding self-esteem and the validation of self-worth are also crucial. A person with low self-esteem may be more vulnerable to infidelity as a means of seeking affirmation and reassurance from others. Conversely, individuals with inflated self-esteem may cheat as a display of power or superiority, or out of a belief that they are deserving of multiple partners. The core issue is how individuals perceive themselves and how that self-perception dictates their behavior in a relationship. In analyzing the role of personality in infidelity, it's important to understand the interaction between disposition and situation. While certain personality traits may predispose an individual towards infidelity, context and circumstances often play a crucial role in whether or not they will act on these predispositions. For example, someone may have traits that incline them towards infidelity but might never face a situation where an affair is possible or tempting. The development of personality traits over time can also influence patterns of fidelity or infidelity in relationships. As people age and mature, their personalities can evolve, thereby altering the likelihood of engaging in infidelity. A young adult high in risk-taking behavior, for instance, may mellow with age and experience, leading to more stable relationship patterns later in life. Lastly, cultural and gender norms intersect with personality traits to impact infidelity. Societal expectations of behavior can either suppress or encourage expressions of certain traits. In some cases, culture may stigmatize or rigidly condemn infidelity, thereby affecting how seriously individual personality traits contribute to the likelihood of someone being unfaithful. Conversely, in more permissive societies, the impact of personal traits on infidelity may be more pronounced. Additionally, social constructs of masculinity and femininity can shape how traits are expressed and judged in the context of extramarital affairs. The intersection of personality traits with other factors, such as relationship satisfaction, life circumstances, and cultural environment, creates a complex web in understanding infidelity. No single personality trait can definitively predict unfaithfulness. Rather, it is the constellation of traits and the individual's broader context that truly shapes behavior. Therefore, comprehensive models of infidelity must account for the multifaceted nature of personality and its interplay with a variety of other influences.